Hello, everyone, and welcome back to One-on-One with Kim. Wow, my newest podcast. This is yours truly, your host, Kimberly Arrington, and I'm here with you for the second week right here on Spreaker.com. For those of you who are not familiar with me, well, you're going to get familiar with me. And for those of you who already know me, you know what it is. Last week, we got a chance to do our first episode, and we talked to those who are in the singles or the dating arena. Once again, for those of you that shared the podcast last week, continue to share. For those of you who haven't heard it, go back and listen because it's going to give you insight into 3 questions as to, what you need to ask while you're dating or when you first start dating. But more importantly, guys, today we have a hot show for you. And I mean a hot show for you. Because today's topic, we're going to be focusing on intimacy and more importantly, how to bring intimacy back into your relationship or even heighten it up. So wherever you fit in, get in because we're going to do some serious things here right here on One-on-One with Kim. I'll be back in just a minute, you guys. Teach me how to love by Musiq Soulchild. We'll be back in just a second to get more into today's topic. Hope this finds you well. Talk to you in a minute.
Never let them think you care at all. Let no one get close to me before you and me. I done shared things with you, girl, about my past that I'd never tell.
And we are back right here on One-on-One with IB. I'm so excited about today. Are y'all excited? Okay, we're going to get some cheers here. That's what I'm talking about. How many of you can go to work and get some cheers where you go to work? That's what's up. That's why you know what, everybody? That's why I love doing podcasting because when I walk into the studio, people cheer. Let's go ahead and get some more cheers. I hope everybody is doing well today. If you're listening right now, thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who will be listening in a little later today or tomorrow, what have you, please, thank you. And I hope that you guys continue to join me because I really enjoy, I think I'm really going to enjoy, this podcast. It is a new venture. It is a new baby for me, but the information that I'm going to be sharing with you all is not new. This is what I do. This is what I do. Let's talk a little bit, guys. Let's talk a little bit. Once again, today's topic on One-on-One with Kim is going to be how to bring intimacy back into your relationships. There we go. We get a hand clap. But there may be some things also before we get to the good parts. We got to visit some of the more difficult parts. Y'all like that? Okay. So let me tell you guys a little bit about the podcast. For those of you who were here last week, I shared a little bit with you as to what the podcast is about and why I'm venturing off in this space. So let's talk a little bit about One-on-One with Kim. Well, first of all, who is Kim? I'm Kim. My government name is Kimberly Arrington, and in other spaces, I'm also known as Inspirational Beauty. But let me just kind of go into detail as to who I am a little bit. Personally, I'm someone who just loves people. I've always been that person who wants people to understand each other, a little better, because as a little kid, I just realized that a lot of conflict happens because people really don't take the time to listen or understand where someone else is coming from. I couldn't articulate it like that back then, but I understand that's really what I wanted for people is I just wanted people to feel good. I wanted people to feel happy. And so let's just fast forward into my professional life at this point. I took all that love and all that insight and of course training, and I have since then become a relationship coach. And amongst other things. And so, just a little bit of my professional career is I have been coaching and consulting couples and singles and men and women in the last 2 to 3 years. And it's just been an amazing work. And so in the world of radio, the shows that I've had or been on, we've done so many different types of shows to help so many people. But I thought this was a good time in my life, personally and professionally, to go ahead and do something specific to relationships. Why? Well, there's a time and season, I believe, for everything. And I could have done it earlier, but I believe that this is the time, this is the now, and I'm very excited about that. Are you all excited about that? Somebody else is excited about that. So that's a little bit about me. So why is the podcast one-on-one with Kim? Well, I thought that, this would be a more intimate approach. And I really believe to be heard or to be understood, you need that one-on-one interaction. And so podcasting for me was my way of coming to all of you to say, you know what? Let's talk. And I'm enjoying it so far. So why don't I do this? We're going to take a quick little break really quickly. And then when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit about last week's show, in case you didn't get that. Now, I'm not going to go all into it because you got to go back and listen to the broadcast, right here on Spreaker.com. Okay. Right here on Spreaker.com. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be on some other platforms too, right? But right now you're listening to me on Spreaker.com. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about some of last week's show. And then we're going to get into some hot topics. Can we do that? We'll be back, y'all, in just a second, right here on One-on-One with Ivy.
Trying to change now. Wanna love you better, show me how. I'm trying desperately, baby. Please work on me up. Show me the way to surrender my heart.
Wow. For those of you who are listening, you're probably familiar with Musiq Soulchild. That is Teach Me, baby. Teach me. I'm a consummate student and a constant learner, and anything that can make me feel good or feel better about anything, I'm willing to learn. And hopefully that this podcast, or at least today's episode, can help you all with that as well. So, once again, before we heard from Musiq Soulchild, I was talking to you guys about why I decided to do this podcast and what is my background a little bit. And as we go further into more shows, into more episodes, you'll learn more and more about me. I promise you. And of course, I want to learn a little bit more about you all. All right. I want to learn a lot more about you all. But let me tell you guys, specifically about what the podcast is really going to do for you. It's not just going to be a situation where you come here and you listen to me, but it is really with the intention to open your heart and to open your mind and to get you in a space where you know the difference between a healthy relationship and a non-healthy relationship. I'm not going to tell you who to be with and how to be with them, but I am going to share with you things that are going to help you. I'm going to give you your own toolbox. You're going to get your own toolbox. You like that? I get a lot of cheers here. Can I get a raise with that? You're going to get your own toolbox to be able to do some things. So speaking of toolbox, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about last week's show and why I wanted to start off the very first show with those of you who are single or dating. When I was on my Facebook Live last week, I looked at the people and what some of the issues were and some of the things that you all are telling me. And a lot of you, if you're at my age, guys, I'm that old, right? You find that you're transitioning in life and that you're back in the world of dating. Some of you have gotten divorced. A lot of you have started new relationships, and wherever you find yourself. And if you're back in that dating pool and you're trying to find companionship, there are a couple of questions that you all need to ask up front. And what I wanted to do on the first show was put you in a situation or allow you to be in a situation that is not going to be intimidating for you, that is not going to be intimidating for the other person, but for you to be able to find out certain things as to see if you need a second date or a third date, or if this person is going to be a lifelong partner. So please go back to episode 1. Now, are you all ready for episode 2? Because it's time to get a little bit hot and bothered, right? It's time to get a little bit hot and bothered. My producer is looking at me like, yeah, I'm hot and bothered. Turn on the air. Turn on the air, everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about intimacy. And intimacy, can mean different things to different people. But what I would like to do is start off with what Webster defines intimacy as, and then we'll work our way from there. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what intimacy is. So intimacy, according to the dictionary, just pretty much goes like this. Intimacy is close familiarity or friendship or closeness. Now that's one definition of it. Close familiarity or friendship or closeness. Another definition is a private atmosphere. A private atmosphere. So intimacy to me doesn't have to be anything necessarily sexual. It could just be a closeness, a familiarity. I'm liking that. You can be in a private space or private atmosphere in a restaurant, in a bookstore, right? And so those are intimate spaces where you can feel close and all of that. Y'all like that? I like that too. Okay. And the third definition of intimacy, let's see what they're going to say. An intimate act, especially sexual intercourse. An intimate act, especially intercourse. So these are some of the definitions of what intimacy in terms of Webster's dictionary. And so I want to go there first because in order for me or anyone to help you solve any type of problem or give you some solutions, we need to know what the thing is. It needs to be clearly defined. Are we clearly defined, everybody? Are we clearly defined on that? So let's just go with number one, familiarity or friendship and closeness. You can be intimate with someone that you're friends with, and it doesn't involve anything sexual in nature. You can have an intimate relationship with someone at work, meaning that you can be emotionally intimate with someone and they can know those things about you that the other coworkers don't know. You can have an intimate relationship with a mentor or a pastor or someone else, a very, very close friend, because all it really means is that there's a closeness or familiarity that others aren't exposed to, that others aren't privy to, right? And you're able to talk freely and be yourself and all of that. That is a great space to be in, to be able to talk to somebody without any judgment, with understanding, right? And in such a closeness where you can feel like you can be yourself. But today is really about how to get that back. So when we're talking about how to get that back, that means there's been a breach somewhere, right? There's been a problem somewhere. So we want to go ahead and talk about that. We want to talk about that. All right. So here are some problems that we want to talk about or expose just for today's show. And I'm sure there's so much more. There's so many issues that we can talk about, right? So let's go ahead and get into issue number one. How's everybody out there doing? Once again, this is 101 with Kim, and this is your host, Kimberly Arrington, right here on Spreaker.com. Once again, everybody, to be able to follow us, please follow us on Spreaker.com right here, and also on our social media sites. We just put them up today, so hopefully they are working. We're going to make sure our staff goes and check, but we want you to go on to Facebook on our fan page, onto One-on-One with Kim. Very simply, One-on-One with Kim, or at One-on-One with Kim. Okay. And that's where you'll be able to see all of our podcasts and what's coming up next. Any services or products or, even live in person seminars and webinars and all that right there on One-on-One with Kim on Facebook. And then we're going to have our Instagrams and Twitters and all of that. So watch out for that, guys. So once again, what are we getting ready to do? We're going to present some problems that people are having in their relationships that may cause a barrier to intimacy. So here's the thing. We're talking about how to get the intimacy back. So once again, if we're talking about how to get it back in your relationship, you once had it, right? Or it may have leveled off. It may not be completely gone, but it may be leveled off. And so let's talk about some barriers as to why you got there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about two different types of things that can cause, a lack of intimacy. And then we'll break it down from there. So the first thing I want you guys to look at, there are some things called external issues or external barriers. And anything external simply just means things outside of your control, things outside of you, things that you really have no true control over. So let's look at that. Okay. Can we look at that? All right. I like that. Okay. We're going to look at that. So we're going to look at some things that we can't control. These are our external issues. These are our external barriers, and it's affecting the intimacy in our relationship. So external Issues are things that's happening with the family, things like money, things like your job. These are things that are part of you, but they're outside of your control. If you're working a job, you can't control who works there with you. Now, you can talk about where you want to sit. And if you don't like your coworker, right? If you don't like your coworker, maybe you can ask your boss to move you. But there are things at the job that you cannot control, okay? Because you are not the owner of the business. So these are things that are external. Once again, things with family. You know, we have parents, we have children, we have cousins, we have siblings, we have so many other things that weigh on us. Each and every one of us. And we take those home to our relationship. We take those things home to our partner. We take those things home to our spouse. These are external things. And yes, they do affect intimacy. All right. So those are external things. I want you guys to really ponder on that and even come up with maybe some more external things of your own that you can write down. Okay. And when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, because once again, we're in a teach me mode, right? Music Soul Child said, teach me. Music Soul Child says, teach me. We're going to let him teach us a little bit. When I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about those external problems. And then we're going to go into our internal problems. But I'm just not going to leave y'all there. This is one-on-one with Kim, of course. So we're going to provide some solutions. All right. We'll be back right here on One-on-One with Kim. I'm having so much fun. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Trust no one enough to let him tell me what to do. Teach me how to really show it in. Show me how to really love you, baby. Teach me, please just show me, yeah. Cause I'm willing to let go of my fears, girl. I'm serious about all that I say. Girl, I wanna love you with all of my heart. Baby, show me where to start.
Ooh. He says, baby, show me where to start. Teach me how to love. That's going to be one of our solutions, right? Because in order to do better, you have to learn more. You have to be taught some things, right? Ooh, I like that. Once again, this is One-on-One with Kim, you guys, and this is my newest relationship podcast, and I'm very excited about it because it allows me the opportunity to come and speak to you in a more intimate setting, and I just love that because I love the closeness. I love the intimacy that it provides. So it would only be appropriate for me to talk about intimacy and how to get that back. You remember when you first start dating someone, you know, whether you're with them or not now, and how you felt. And one of the biggest reasons why you felt so special is because they made you feel or gave you that closeness, and they made you feel special. Well, that's intimacy. That's intimacy, everybody. And so some of you may be feeling like you've lost that, but we're going to get you back to it. We're going to get you back to it. So before I left, guys, to step out for a second and let Music Soul Child teach you a little bit, we were talking about some of the boundaries or barriers that are keeping you from leveling up in your intimacy. All right. So what did we talk about? The first things we talked about were some external problems. Once again, external problems or barriers are things outside of your control. You know, they're a part of your life, but they're things that at the end of the day, you can't necessarily be the last decision maker on it. So what are some of those external issues? Once again, we talked about family, money, job. Right? Those things are outside of our control, and they can affect what goes on in your relationship. Why is that? Because we're human. We are human. And that's really, to put it in the simplest, most direct form, we are human. But now that we have some external things that we're working with, and once again, guys, for your own personal ledger, I want you guys to put down some other external issues. All right. And we're going to talk about some internal issues now as well, because they both affect your levels of intimacy. So your internal issues, what are internal issues? Well, internal issues are things that you can control a little bit more of. So that's a good thing, right? Right. We always feel better when we feel like we have some semblance of control, right? I know I do. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I pull my whip out and want to control. No, I'm kidding, everybody. I'm a love bug. I'm a love bug. I am a love bug. But let's talk about some internal things here. All right. So we talked about, let me look at this right here. Okay. All right. So my internal things are things like changes in the body, things that, that affect your body, the way that you eat, right? The way that you take care of your health. Things like that are efforts as to how we can take more control of ourselves. When you don't take care of your body and your mind and your spirit and all of these things that you are a steward over, then it is going to affect the intimate part of you. It's going to affect your ability to want to be close to someone. If you don't feel good about your body, whether the way that it looks on the outside or the way that it feels, then you're not going to want others close to you. Have any of you ever felt that way? Now, I don't want to be the bad guy here, right? But I have been in a position where I've had internal barriers or internal problems, and I blame them on external things because I really didn't understand the difference. But I want you guys to understand that there is a difference. And the quicker you understand your internal issues, the things that you are causing or the things that you're not taking care of, you can go on and start solving your own problems today. You can really start doing that. So just like we wrote down our external issues, let's look at our internal issues. Our internal issues are things that you can control or have more of a control over. Okay. And it's your responsibility to take care of those things because see, intimacy is, once again, it's a closeness. It allows you to be able to, be in a space with someone else who cares about you, who loves you, who doesn't judge you. And that transfers into sexual energy. That transfers into wanting to be touched and you wanting to, to touch someone else. But you can't do it if you have internal issues. If you have insecurities, that's an internal issue, right? That you can work on, that you can control. You like that, guys? I like that. The reason why I want to talk about it in terms like this, because I'm a big believer in before you can solve anything, you have to be able to identify the problem. That's with anything. And I think a lot of frustration happens with us in our relationships because we get to a point where there's challenges or obstacles that come into the relationship, usually externally first, okay? Or internally if they haven't been dealt with. And then we don't know how to deal with them because we don't first know how to identify the problem, right? We don't first know how to identify the problem. And that is where all solutions begin. That is where all solutions begin. See, I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm just making it roll a little bit better. Do y'all like that? I like that. Right? I'm a person who loves to be able to share things that worked for me. And so I'm not telling you guys anything that I have not used or anything that has not worked for me. I'm very big on understanding that experience is the biggest teacher. It is one of the biggest, if not one of the most valuable. It is certainly one of the biggest things that we need to rely on. And so if you want to solve the problem, you have to first be able to identify it. You like that? I like that. Why don't y'all write that down? And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the solution. Now that we know the problem, what are the problems? We have some external and some internal barriers that are stopping the intimacy. So what are we going to do about it, everybody? I'll be back in just a second to talk about that right here on 101 with Kim. I'll be back, y'all. Don't you know you're so beautiful, everybody? Thought I'll throw that in right quick. Since we're talking about internal issues, everybody. We are back right here on 101 with Kim, my newest podcast. How y'all enjoying it so far? I'm having a great time. Once again, like I said, I love talking to people, whether it's in a private space or whether it's on radio or right here on an more intimate platform, talking about intimacy. What better way to talk about intimacy. So guys, once again, I wanted to talk about this today because so many people are suffering being in, relationships and not understanding that they don't have the intimacy like they once did, and they don't know why, and they just think that is just what it is. And I want to say to all of you, you don't have to live that way, right? You don't have to live that way. I'm always about, I may not always be successful, in certain things, but I'm going to always try. And that's what this podcast is really all about, is to help you try. But you got to use the tools. You got to use the tools that are given to you, just like I have to use them. You cannot expect to dig a ditch if you don't have, the necessary tools. You can't just walk out there and say, all right, dirt, come up. You got to have some tools with you, right? So such is life, and such is relationships. You got to have these tools. So we know the problems now. We know we have some external barriers and we have some internal barriers or issues that's stopping our intimacy. No, but we have some solutions, right? We have some solutions, everybody, that are going to help us. And so let's start off with number one, because we're going to be out of here soon, guys. We're going to be out here soon. But once again, everybody, you got to continue to follow, because we're going to have a series right here on One-on-One with Kim to help us, because today's topic, you can't learn everything in just one episode, right? So it's going to be a continuing education format, if you will. You like that? You like that? Okay. So are you guys ready for the solutions? Solutions to your problems can be as simple as 1, 2, 3. Just click your heels, everybody. But seriously, the solutions to being able to provide some more intimacy, these are things that you can work on today, that you can start right now. Very simply, you can relax. You can stop being overly critical with yourself. And you can start once again reflecting on your past. And we're going to go through those really quickly. All right. They're very simple, very simple. I didn't want to make this hard for you guys, because I really understand that in order to be successful, people have to be able to duplicate what it is that you're doing. And it has to be very simple, not necessarily easy, but simple to understand. I believe that our lives are hard because we make things complex when really they're simple. I believe that was profound, everybody. Once again, number one, a solution to creating more intimacy in your relationships or back in your life is number one, simply relax. What does that look like? Relaxation could mean anything from just turning on some music, turning on something that brings you peace, something that makes you feel good. Turning on ocean sounds, or, for me, when I go to bed at night, everybody, I usually turn on rain, some type of rain or even thunderstorm. It has a certain rhythm to it, right? But there's something about sound or audio that can calm you and put you in a state of calm and state of peace. So whatever that is, relaxing for you may be working out or reading a book, something that is going to help bring the heart rate down. That's what I mean by relaxing. I love to dance. I love to, do all types of dancing, especially, salsa and things like that. But that's not necessarily relaxing, because it's elevating my heart rate, right? Right? So if I want to still dance, but bring that heart rate down and relax, I'm going to do something more slow, right? Where it doesn't require a lot of movement. It allows me to just move and sway side to side. Yeah, I like that. Just move and sway side to side. So I want you all to relax, right? That is going to allow your mind, your body, your spirit, and everything to come into an alignment, right? Relaxation. Number two, I want you to stop being overly critical. I've been there. I'm a Virgo, and Virgos by design, we are perfectionists. If you all knew how many times that I tried to do this podcast before you heard this one, you would die laughing. And I had to get to the point where it said, Kim, don't be overly critical. You know what you know? Get on there and tell what you know. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to put it out there. Right? So I am someone who can talk to you all about being overly critical. Stop being overly critical and just live. And that will allow an intimate space. Don't be overly critical on yourself, And especially don't be overly critical on your partner. How do you do that? Y'all ready? I got the key to this. Close your mouth. When you feel like you want to say something that is not in love. Now, let me say this because some of you may think that being critical is in love. Criticizing is never out of love. It's pointing out issues in someone else that you think can be better. Okay? All right? And if you do it too much, no one's going to want to be close to you. Nobody's going to want to touch you. Right? So we want your partner to want to touch you and be close to you and be open to you, to provide that intimate space that we're looking for. So number 2, stop being overly critical. Kim? Yes, you, Kim. I'm talking to you, Kim. And allow people to just be. And allow yourself to just be. All right? Take your hair down. Take a nice glass of wine. Right? Turn on some nice music and just sit there and don't speak and watch the atmosphere change. And number 3, one more solution. I'm just giving y'all 3 today. One more solution into how you can bring more intimacy into the relationship is reflecting on your past where there was once a time where you were more intimate. Reflect on those moments where you felt good, where you felt close, whether it was 3 days ago or 10 days ago or 10 years ago. Your memory is still there and you can conjure up on those things. And sometimes just sit back and think on those things. What did you do? How was your body language? What did you say? And more importantly, how did you feel? Once again, I've given you 3 quick, easy, duplicable. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to make it a word. Yeah, I want you guys to duplicate. 3 easy solutions to your problem of how to create more intimacy. And we're going to talk another day on another episode about intimacy specifically in the bedroom. But for today's conversation, we got to start somewhere. All right? And today, we're just really finding out what intimacy is, right? It's a closeness and familiarity, everybody. It's a closeness and familiarity. It's an intimate space where you can talk, you can share, you cannot be judged. And also, don't forget, it is a place, especially where there's an intimate act of sexual intercourse. And we will talk about that down the line, right? But we're going to take baby steps for all of you. You got to get to know me and I got to get to know you a little bit better, right? I hope that this has found you well. Once again, this has been how to bring back intimacy in your relationship right here on Speaker.com. Once again, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break with Musiq Soulchild. When I come back, I'm going to tell you how to follow me and why you should follow me. All right? We'll be back in just a second.
So good, like you know I could. Tell me if you feel the same way, 'cause it just...
And we are back. Wow. This podcast is about to end, but our relationship is just beginning. I am so excited, guys. Once again, I want you guys to continue to follow me right here, One-on-One with Kim. My name is Kimberly Arrington, and I am your host right here. Guys, once again, I'm a lover of people, but I'm also a relationship and life coach. You can talk to me here, and you can also follow us on One-on-One with Kim on Facebook. One-on-One with Kim at Facebook. And also, you can email us with your comments and even show content ideas at oneononewithkim@gmail.com. Now, we're putting up our Twitters and everything else because, listen, we just ran with the ball. We were just ready. We were ready to go. But soon, we're going to dispense even more information to you. For those of you who follow me on radio, get ready because we're going to have even bigger and better shows, right? Coming to you soon. But for now, guys, for those of you who want to join in on this relationship conversation with me, and I'll have some friends with us sometimes, please follow us here. All right? All right? Woo! This is my time, y'all. Second episode on One-on-One with Kim. Remember, guys, relationships are hard, but love is easy. I'll see you on the next episode, everybody, of One-on-One with Kim.